Actually, I'm here just for the coffee and a little bit of weed. What's up?
No,
Goddamn, hope.
I want to try.
Ah.
Hey guys, we're back here for part 3. A little update on the Ring project. We've got a new printer, the Solus. We've got a final print done for wax casting, and we, how do we go about this? The design of the ring is done. We're making a wax mold of it, and it's going to get casted in silver. And we basically got to hand it over to a jeweler now. And
Maybe gold.
maybe gold, sure. Why not platinum?
I don't know. It just depends on how many of my gold teeth I could pull out
Yeah.
and sell for
You
it.
know some Max? No.
Maybe.
And it's a learning process, but we're also taking our time with it because we're not sure what the next step is going to be. We're learning as we go.
Yeah. Shout out to my main man's Jay for this printer, which is actually I wish we could show this printer. You can't see it from the back, but the projector, like it's a totally different setup than what he's got right now.
Yeah, it's an older printer. I think it's about 7 years old, but it's I'm gonna say it's a high-end industrial printer. Like
Yeah,
I've only seen like jewelers use this printer, so it's not something I was gonna come across.
That's why Jay has it. 'Cause
Yeah.
Jay's the jeweler.
Yeah,
Jay the jeweler.
he's got some cool work, and he didn't quite have the skill set to use it. So look, I came around and I'm like, yeah, let me play with it.
Jay and I would have never figured this out. I just want to say
It
that.
took me a minute.
Jay and I would never figure this out.
It took me a minute to figure it out. Where I'm like, I had to like read the instructions, go on the forums, troubleshoot it. Like, why is it not working?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Hey, every like superhero's got their tech guy.
I'm got the chair.
Yeah, the guy in the chair.
With the little spin around.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got that going, and we're looking forward to the next part. But there's always other stuff going on too. You just had a trip, right? You got back from where was it? Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
That's pretty cool. I mean, like, I don't know how much of a play-by-play you want, but I was there for like 17 days or so, roughly. It was kind of a weird trip, just in terms of length. I was in the capital, San Jose, for like 2.5, maybe 3 days by myself, and then I drove out. I didn't drive. It was too expensive to rent a car. I took a bus. It was only like
Hey man, that's
$6-7. It was like $6 or $7. Yeah, no, it was cool. That but it's just I'm not used to public transport here.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I'm always in the car, so once you get used to driving, bro,
Yeah.
you just want to drive. You're like, I'm on my schedule. I stop if I want. Anyway, in a bus, you're at their mercy. But their public transport was pretty good. It was like $6 or $7 for a 4-hour drive to go from San Jose to Limon, Costa Rica, which is like in the Caribbean side. It was crazy, dude. I saw a bunch of like banana plantations,
Oh, cool.
banana tree plantations. First, I didn't know what it was, and then later, as I found out more and more, I'm not totally ignorant, but I am kind of ignorant. Like, I'm kind of a dumbass sometimes about stuff. So, like, they have their big banana farming and stuff like that, coffee and stuff. It's pretty cool.
There's like a lot of bananas here, huh?
Yeah, I had some weird bananas too at the grocery store. Had like a double one. They like 2 grew on top of each other.
Like how many?
It was crazy. It was pretty dope.
So there's regular bananas, there's plátanos, there's
Plantains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the little baby ones.
Yeah. You see any more than that?
No, nothing that I've ever seen before. But they use that a lot in their food, like a lot of plantains. Salvador too, huh?
Yeah, I mean
Plantains?
they're right there. It's not the next country over, right? But they're like,
I don't know. You're from down there. I don't know.
you're literally there.
So from what I saw, it's Costa Rica. Then you got Panama directly beneath. them.
Okay.
And then there's Belize, if I believe. Don't quote me on top.
That's all Central America.
And then
really.
Nicaragua is like on the closer to the Pacific side.
We're not we didn't do good in school. Let's just say.
I wasn't much for book learning myself.
Cool. And then you were sharing the art you were running into. Like, what kind of art?
Here's what I'm saying about like. Sorry. So not what I'm saying. Let me say this. In San Jose, I saw a lot of cool street art.
Yeah.
And I went to the Natural History Museum there in Costa Rica.
Okay.
And that was really cool because I sent you the photos of like the gold pieces and stuff.
Yeah. So he sent me some cool pictures of like, I guess it's like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Something like a king would wear.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it was for the chiefs.
Of gold.
It was for the caciques.
Yeah.
That's how they symbolized like their status. Gold, obviously, like all throughout history, is like, so if you had more gold and stuff like that, it meant higher status, obviously.
Yeah,
and I think the piece that I sent you was, I forget the exact cacique's name from what indigenous tribe, the chief. That was like his adornment and stuff like that. So that's why it looked like kind of like a king. I was like,
well, I mean, it's a lot of gold.
There's a lot of gold.
I'm like, that's a lot of gold.
It was really cool. So there was like, I got to enjoy so I read a lot of the history, like as much as I could take in from the museum.
Yeah.
I spent a couple hours there. It was nice. I was more particularly interested in the indigenous like tribes and their art and stuff like that, which was fun to see. Yeah.
The math stuff was cool.
The math stuff is what caught me the most, just because of like the stuff that we're working on, even kind of like the ring.
Yeah. I mean, I was like you're probably taking some inspiration from that. Like,
for sure.
When you sent me that first picture, so what he sent me was a picture of like, it was a tourist shop, kind I guess, wasn't it?
The one with all the colorful ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tourist shop.
Yeah, and my first impression was it was like, okay, this is kind of tourist art, which is fine. You know, tourist art is cool. But the bright colors was kind of like, was part of it, like made me think, just catch the eye, you know, here, a cool souvenir. And then, but you sent me what it was, and I did a little research in it, and I'm like, oh, these are warrior masks, you know? I was like, so
that's why they drew me right away.
Yeah.
Like there was somebody, it was like,
and then the color was something that came afterwards.
After.
Yeah, like the original ones were just wood.
Pretty raw, stripped down.
And I'm like, this will be intimidating. You're in the middle of the forest. And
it's dark. And you can, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
In the jungle at nighttime, and all you see is just like really the shape. The shape. And you're like, oh shit, what is that?
Yeah.
They did use it on purpose to scare off the Spanish, because the Spanish, you know, they're associated with the devil and stuff like that. So the Spanish were scared about that.
I was like, oh, that's hard.
That's dope, right? Yeah. Obviously now it's like,
sure,
totally different. Like you're not going to use it for fear. Now it's just more, it has evolved into something like to express beauty. And it makes sense because Costa Rica is there's a lot of nature. They actually, their government reserved a lot of the country's like natural resources for like specifically like hands off. Like these are our national forests.
Cool.
Like you're not allowed to build on it. Yeah. And then there's like certain areas in the jungles that are like protected for the indigenous. Still not enough, but there's some areas. And so like there's a lot of animals there. Like it's very
what'd you see?
A lot of biodiversity there, if that's the word. I think I actually saw a sloth in a tree.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like 20-foot high tree. You could barely see. I tried to film it, but I couldn't see like well enough because, dude, they camouflage so good into the tree. And then the dude, the tour guide or the guy like at the Airbnb who was walking us out towards the beach was like, he's right there. I was like, what are you talking about? You guys are right there. I finally saw him when the little guy just was moving just like this.
Yeah. It
just
super slow.
So slow. And I caught that little bit of movement. I was like, oh, snap, dude. That was pretty cool.
All right.
That was very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Saw monkeys, like just out by the beach. The beaches were nice. The beaches look nice, but there was a lot of, on the Caribbean side where we were in Limon and Puerto Viejo, that you ever been to a beach where there's a lot of rocks?
Yeah.
So you can't like, you can go in, but there's only certain areas where you can go in. And it's kind of limited to like, so I was like, oh, okay. Because the rocks fuck your feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a beautiful beach and you're like, oh, I can't chill here.
Yeah. I mean, you can chill out there and just, it's nice.
Yeah.
But you can't go in and...
So inspirational. You got to see some cool art. Got to relax.
I got to see some very cool art. It was an adventure driving through, like just being on the bus and just driving through like 4.5 hours, in like countryside. And it was very nice. It was expensive though.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, they were like 75% of what it would cost here. Closer sometimes to, not as like cheap as Mexico or something like
That's
that.
interesting. Normally, you think it's cheaper in other
Nah,
countries.
because there's a lot of tourists. Down there.
Okay.
There's a lot of like expats
Yeah, sure.
there.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Has a very high percentage of like literacy. They implemented the government like in the 50s, I believe, 50s, 60s, and like wave of socialism, and they implemented it very like so everybody gets to go to school for free, higher education is free, and same like universal healthcare and stuff like that. So they do really well, but the exchange of that is the taxation is kind of high.
Yeah.
So that's why the prices for us will get high. So if you go to Costa Rica, you're going to get, I think it's called the VAT or whatever. It's just like a tourist tax, basically. Sometimes you could pass for a local, but for the most part, like
So speaking Spanish.
So yeah, but like it's different. But
I don't know. Some people can just by the way you walk, they can tell you're not from there.
Yeah, for sure. But even in Mexico, I get caught with that sometimes. In Mexico, they hit you the same like in Guadalajara. Sometimes it would get me, and like motherfuckers, and then other times they let me fly. It's like, yeah, it's my boy right there. Just because I can get away with it sometimes, but not always.
So you got to travel a lot, though, right? You've been doing a lot of traveling the last couple of years.
I've been doing traveling from fighting mainly.
Yeah. Like what? Where have you been?
Where have I been? I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I was just thinking about that earlier. I was talking to somebody about it. Ireland was my first like trip out. Like on this run up basically over the last like 10 years. I've been doing maybe like 1 or 2 trips a year since like 2013 for a competition, and now more like the first few years was straight up competition. Like I would just travel to compete, and I wouldn't enjoy the countries.
So for those of you who don't know, Herman is an experienced martial artist. He has a background in kickboxing or in some other fields too.
Kickboxing. I fought MMA for a while. Jiu-jitsu and wrestling was like something I learned.
But mostly kickboxing.
Kickboxing is what was my original sport.
Okay.
And was like ultimately what I.
How long have you been doing that?
Shit, bro, since 05.
Wow.
05, yeah. 05, 06.
So are your hands registered weapons? Is that what
Get out of here with that cheesy ass. Damn,
oh no, it's your legs. That's what it is.
It's my left foot. It's my left foot. Nah, I mean, but yeah, it's like, because I'm about to be 35, coming up on 35, and I hit up my old sensei actually right before coming over here. I was like, hey man, when did you know it was time to like hang him up? And he said, man, when your heart's not in it anymore, you'll know in the middle of the fight.
Oh wow!
I was like, damn.
So you'll be out there in the ring
because that's all you know how to do. This is the thing. Like here's what happens with a lot of fighters, myself included, because I'm going through this now. You do it for so long that you get used to, not necessarily the violence, but you just get used to this feeling of like, there is no other drug that'll get you this high. There's no comparison, man. You ask any fighter in the world, from amateurs don't understand it fully because it's just pure adrenaline and shit. But like professionals,
so you get a high from you get some kind of
an absolute high from winning.
Okay.
So losing, if you ask anybody,
I'm sure
it's akin to a heartbreak.
Okay.
Is the feeling. Some dudes brush that shit off better. Some dudes have to learn how to like deal with that heartbreak and move on and get back in there. You know what I'm saying? Some people, that one loss, that heartbreak is so devastating and they never come back from it. Like,
and there's consequences to it. You damage.
Damage, yeah. I mean, in the rare instances, but like rare damage that will kill you in that one night. So what I mean is like there's thousands of boxing fights a year. Maybe we'll hear a story about one dude that dies that year or something like that. So, there's quite a few recent ones in boxing.
Yeah.
But that's very rare, right? It's like you hear about the plane that goes down, but you don't hear about the 10,000 flights that are flying normally and get to their destination. What's more concerning in terms of damage is the damage you accumulate long-term in sparring sessions and training.
Wear and tear.
Going and train while injured and stuff like that. Getting your fucking brain rattled and then like continuing to spar and stuff like that. it there's damage, dude.
Sure.
The damage gets done. And
So-
that's like the consideration.
Hey man, but you traveled the world. You
Yeah, no, like
got to meet pretty sure a lot of interesting people.
I've got to meet some very cool people.
Fighters are characters, so
Yeah, fighters and the people that surround them are characters, and then just like I like to observe the cultures where I'm like.
oh yeah, but
where
that's
I'm in.
interesting.
It's very interesting, and I always kind of ask myself, could I live here amongst these people? Do they feel welcoming enough? Do I feel like I would enjoy being part of this culture or community and stuff like that? And I kind of look at their art. I look at their the interactions that I've had with people like on the streets or like in restaurants and stuff like that. And then like, how much money is it going to cost me to live here? Like, is it going to be more than in the States? Because if so, then why? It's going to be a lot less. Like you got, your pros and cons list to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So and so you actually went to Thailand, right? And studied over there.
No, I didn't study it. I trained. That was my first trip out of college. That was my first trip, like not by myself, because my teammate, like one teammate with me, and then my coach flew in later.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But that was like my first trip without like my parents or my family or something like that. Where it was like I was right out of college. I was gonna get ready for the first state tournament. It was 2010, and California, MMA was not legal, so you had to do smokers, and you had to like kind of like do things like at different gyms, kind of because the state of California was trying to crack down on MMA and stuff like that, because MMA wasn't as widespread as it is now.
Yeah, like I recently got into UFC MMA, like only in this past couple of years. I mean, I always liked it, but I never followed it. But pandemic hit. Basically, it's me and Rick started watching it, and I started learning more about it. And then me and you started working more on projects, and I was able to pick your brain about stuff. And I was like, I want to go back and watch the first UFC Ultimate Fighter, and it's hilarious.
I know, right?
I'm like, what?
Those were the pioneers, bro.
Right? But the beauty of it was, it's just like, okay, we got a kung fu guy and we got a karate guy.
Yeah.
Let's see who is with. And that's like the little kid in me. It's like, which martial arts is the better?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what it was back then.
But the funny part, I just remember this one part where it's like they're introducing a fighter, and the announcer's like, and he has a heating and AC company. I was like,
hey, that's just so true, man.
Yeah.
Even guys right now in the UFC, they gotta have like real full-time jobs.
But it's like they're announcing that too, and it's just like,
that's how they know about them.
Yeah.
It's like, this is Chuck. We found him out on I-35. He said he'd do it for $250 if we promoted his AC company.
Watch, I'm not surprised if they probably the cage door would open up. And
oh my God. I know.
So you watched those, right?
I've only seen a handful of them.
Okay.
The main like UFC stuff that I started watching, which is what got me into I was already doing kickboxing, but it is what got me the original Ultimate Fighter. Mm-hmm. That's what got me like, oh shit, like maybe I want to do some MMA, because I was already doing kickboxing for about a year and a half. I had like 7 fights already, 7 smokers. They were like, I mean, back in the day, smokers were pretty legit, like really good, tough amateur experience.
Well, that's just guys testing themselves, right? It wasn't like
it was dudes. It was dudes from gyms.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not
like
there for
dudes.
like a title or money.
There were some, dude. Yeah, there were some. Like some smokers, there was money. Like it just kind of, it was it was a little bit illegal. Honestly, some of them were like. There's amateur shows now that are like same quality, even though they're like you have to have. Like,
you like. I mean, I guess if we want to bring this back to art, you have to break the rules to grow sometimes,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But then, there's some regulation because dudes did get hurt. So I am happy. I'm happy in some sense. So I was going through the process of camo. Like, so when I was coming up, I was fighting, like, I was doing smokers. MMA was not fully legal. You had to go to, here in Southern California, everybody would go to a handful of shows that were able to get away with it. Ken Roses in Newbury Park. A lot of UFC, a lot of people that ended up in the UFC, including, I think, Tony Ferguson. I think Tony fought there, which I forget. But he fought like in Oxnard, Ventura and stuff like that. Vince Pichel, he fought at Newbury Park. Chris Beal ended up on the UFC. He fought there. I was supposed to fight him in Newbury Park. Well, it was possible because his opponent wasn't there. My opponent wasn't there, but I got somebody else. But like that was where a lot of fighters would go because it was one of the only areas in Southern California that was like allowed to get away with the shows and stuff like that. So it was like the circuit that my teammates and I kind of came up on. And that's when I went to Thailand because the state of California came in to start to regulate because it was kind of fucked up. Some of the stuff was fucked up that would happen. Like you had some sick ass mismatches.
Like California, like a California.
Yeah,
I saw that video.
So okay, but that's why I went to Thailand. I went to Thailand to train. I was like, I'm gonna go to Thailand for the first part of this camp to get into fucking shape, like whatever. So I was there for a month training for this tournament. The tournament is different than the tournaments I do now because it was over like 3 months. So different opponents over 3 months. And it was I think we had a 16-man bracket. Oh, no, it was probably like a small bracket, maybe like an 8-man bracket. Because I remember fighting 3 times for it. One of them, the fighter, I forget what happened. But that's why I went to Thailand to train for that tournament. So I was technically in the history books of California. Once like amateur MMA got legal, I was the first California state MMA champion. Like that in history.
I remember watching that video. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, that's her.
I was the first one for that.
I was like, you're king of that. Well, I don't say it wrong, but rude, but I remember is that guy's winded and you were fine. I was like,
yeah. Because I was in good shape for those fucking fights.
Yeah,
I was serious about shit back then. Why? Not that I didn't over tournaments, but that's all I knew back then. I was like, hell yeah, that shit.
Were you doing art back then?
You played some.
You also played guitar though, right?
Yeah. But I think I was doing some. But you know what my art was too? I was like, if you see that video, it's the ugly ass hair that I had. It's like I always would do stuff with my hair.
Okay, that was your creative outlet.
That was kind of like some of my creative outlet for my fights. And I didn't start doing the art like for my t-shirts, for my walkout t-shirts until I turned pro. I want to say because I wanted to make. That was like my first one with my walkout shirt.
Was that like I want to make my own stuff, or were you like?
No, I was like, look, I just want to make my like walkout shirt because I had people like gym shirts and some people had their walkout shirts and I was like, oh shit, like it's not like I came out with the walkout. I came up with the idea of a walkout shirt. I was like, oh shit, I want one of those.
Okay.
I was like, I made my sketch. I found this dude that helped me out with the graphic design.
What was the design?
It was this bat.
But you already had the nickname then, right then.
Yeah, the nickname was given to me.
Yeah,
the nickname was given to me.
I think all nicknames should be earned.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not like I picked my nickname, bro. It started off as a joke.
German the bat.
Yeah, the bat. Not the bat because I don't hit that hard, but yeah, the blind as a bat.
Yeah,
was a joke.
I was like, I do remember watching that first fight of yours or that California one, and I'm like, and he's squinting a lot, and
I can't see shit.
And I was like, and I think I said that, and I was like, yeah, that's his nickname, the bat. I was like, oh, perfect.
I know. I was like, I like it because I just it's cool. It goes. Is it alliteration? Is a word alliteration where it's like B, the bat Baltazar?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna say yes.
We're gonna Google check that later.
Sure.
Yeah, I like the way it sounds, the bat Baltazar. And like just you could do cool shit with bats. Like bats are kind of like they're not big or nothing like that, but
Batman.
They're kind of scary. Yeah, exactly. Like Batman takes the bat. I was like, I fuck with that. I like that a lot.
And Batman is the only superhero without powers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that makes him a little more special.
In DC, the closest to that is Daredevil, but he does have powers. Yeah, but Batman's powers is he's fucking rich. Yeah,
he got money.
That's a power, bro. That's like the most realistic power.
Yeah.
Like he could have all these kind of like 3D printers and stuff, like making them
make all
his armor. And
Hey man, I've
stuff or
seen
whatever.
people make entire costumes out of with a 3D printer. You know,
Yeah.
like full Iron Man suits. I see a lot of people online.
He can fabricate it and get like real.
There's a guy
Real
I'm
texture.
following. He's an engineer, and
Mhm.
he's saying his goal is to make an Iron Man suit.
Mhm.
And he's making like all these hinges. Like it's a real suit that's going to carry weight,
Mhm.
and he's just prototyping it with a 3D printer.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm
Yeah, that's the prototypes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
That
but
makes
he's
sense.
also making like bands, and so it's going to carry. He wants it to carry weight,
That's sick.
and then like the conversations get into like, oh, what kind of materials are you going to use? I haven't gotten into that yet. He basically wants to get the design down, and what's the part that trips me out is like for the shoulder, he works on parts where you can like move your arm like this, rotate, like think about an armor.
Mhm.
You can't really your
Yeah,
mobility.
yeah. It's like the chain link, the medieval knights. Like there's limited mobility because like
Yeah. But
Yeah.
even the medieval armor is impressive because the way they layered it gives you that mobility. But
Interesting.
it's super heavy.
Interesting.
And then you just
They use chainmail underneath it. Too?
yeah. So you know how it's layered. You
Mhm.
got so that layer is the one you can do
It's a
the
little flap.
flexibility.
Interesting.
Yeah, but this guy takes it to another level where he's putting parts that interlock and then rotate different ways. He's doing it for the hips. He's got like gloves, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to see how this turns out.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like I'm having a hard time imagining
picturing
fully
it?
what.
think about like the movie Iron Man.
Bro, that's magic to me.
Yeah, what kind of?
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm just like,
I don't know how any of the engineering, like the structures and all that
Oh, dude,
work. I have no idea.
I always tell people, I'm an artist, not an engineer, but 3D printing can easily cross over into engineering
I could
so
see that.
fast.
Yeah, I could see that.
And like I like to stick my toes in there once in a while, but
But the 3D printers work for engineers first, right? And then artists kind of took it over.
yeah, well, I mean, from the history I remember, 3D printers were around.
I bet you Jay would know.
Yeah. There's a documentary on 3D printers, but before, I forgot what year they came out, but they were Kickstarters, right?
Mm.
And they had them before. I have this memory of a studio talking about a 3D printer, how they built it, and they were using it to make helmets and stuff for like movies and stuff. But they're saying that 3D printers been around for a while, but it's all engineering stuff. Like NASA would use them.
Right.
NASA had like
NASA, they all probably had all the dope shit.
they have metal ones. You can
Yeah.
3D print metal parts.
Those aren't available to us yet. Right?
They're like $10,000. So
Damn, that's cool.
they got. I saw one that's a desktop 3D printer. It prints carbon fiber,
Oh, that's cool.
but it's like $10,000. So I was like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. Batman could have.
yeah,
Batman could have all of that. No problem. No problem.
See, you're ghetto Batman.
Yeah, we're ghetto Batman. That's yeah. So with the ring,
Mm-hmm.
where are we at right now? You said we're
Right now, we
one
gotta hand it over to Jay, and he's gonna make the casting.
Yeah, and you're gonna show videos of this.
I mean, I
The
shared some
process.
stuff on social media. We can share stuff here, but I was thinking when we have the actual ring, we're gonna go into more detail about it. We'll get Jay in here. We need to actually give Jay some credit because he's been a big part of this whole
It's a
project.
lot of credit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like as far as like Herman did the design. I basically made a physical part of it, but the actual jewelry part were like complete blanks on it.
We don't know. Yeah.
So, but that's his like playground, and,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna hand it over to him now and go from there.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. I'm like front end,
Mm-hmm.
back end. No. What would if we were designing a website, I'd just be like, I don't even know. What terms would that be? What was my role? I know I'm front end.
I
I'm
will
not
call you the designer for it.
designer.
Yeah, because you did design the ring. I mean,
You're the engineer.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll wear that hat for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of felt like one. I'm over here
I know.
assembling this thing,
Do you know how many rings that you've made for this?
like over 10.
Show the people your collection. That's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. And all of them are like different like levels of detail, like working through some of the mistakes and stuff like that in the design.
So right here is basically all the rings I made.
I got a few of them too myself.
Oh, yeah.
I got like 3.
You snagged a few.
You know.
It's all the same ring, but I was testing out different ways to print it because it's got to be as clean as possible. So when we get to the jewelry side,
Right.
there's less
Right.
material to work with.
Right. Per J.
Yeah, and
That
then,
makes sense.
And also one of the things I learned with 3D printing is what you see on the screen doesn't translate to what's on the print.
Right.
So you lose some details. So sometimes you need to push details in more.
Yeah.
So it's like I would print one on. I'm like, oh, I didn't get that detail I wanted on the side.
Yeah.
We got to go in there and then like push that detail more on the face. Everything was just kind of blending together. It's like, and
you
I
did a good job with bringing different things.
yeah,
out. Looks nice.
and then what I did for the face was I made different parts of it extrude. So some parts are sticking out further than others,
Right.
and it gives it more depth.
Yeah.
So it added to the whole. It made it look better. I guess it's better.
It did. And we are working currently on some other ring designs that I hope once like this comes out kind of cool. So once we get this one done, I think we'll be able to put out some more ones because we'll know the process from start to finish.
I mean, this has been a definite learning curve, but it's going to streamline any other ring we want to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everything else is going to come faster after this.
Yeah, I mean,
it took us 3 weeks since we got this thing.
Was it? I mean, we're also waiting on material.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but for you to learn how to make it work because it's different than these, and then like the bottle that you had of the wax resin, we didn't know was expired or whatever.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
quality was no good.
So we had the material that was given to me. I don't know, who knows how old it was,
Right.
and it was printing funny. Like basically anytime. The way the material works is you project light on it and it hardens it, it cures it, right? And so then it lifts a layer up. What it was doing, anything that light hit it was curing. So basically, you would have not just the art it had, but everything else around it.
Interesting.
So you basically have like a sandwich being pulled out of the resin. And I'm like, oh man, I've never seen this before. I did a little research. I was like, oh, it's probably expires. That's what what I learned from it. I
would have just gave up at that point. I said, well, this thing doesn't work. I quit.
You know what? With printers,
I have no patience.
With these 3D printers, I learned so much patience.
I have no patience. Like I guess it wasn't meant to be. Is what I would have said.
Yeah.
I tried.
I was like, with my first printer, man, I learned so much because I messed up so much.
Yeah.
I had to change I burnt out the motherboard on my first printer because I was using it so much. And you're like, what happened here? I'm like, and then I opened the guts, open it, and there's a big old burn mark in the circuit board.
That'll be it.
And I'm like, oh, what do I do? Get on YouTube. So like, oh, they sell aftermarket parts for this. So, it's a beginner printer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can switch parts in and out. And then from what I read was this is a printer you want to get if you want to learn about 3D printers. If you just want to start printing and go, get a more expensive one.
I think it's helped. I think it helps sometimes being poor because you have to use some gusto, some brain power to learn this shit.
And then a lot of it was the community, when these things came out, it was the community is what supported it because there's so many issues with it. I've researched so much where I'm just like, this person doesn't know anything what they're talking about. They're asking for help, basically.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, oh, this is a year old. This information is a year old. So they already figured this out.
Yeah.
So me waiting a little bit helped me out because I wasn't one of the early adopters and then I had trouble. Also, all the troubleshooting was kind of
questions already answered for you.
Yes.
Where you could find a resource.
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, finding those questions was tricky too.
Right.
Like it wasn't right in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was, but not always. And then sometimes you don't know what the problem is. Like it's like, oh, it's not printing. Why is it not printing? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So and then Jay brought over this one, and I'm like, let me get my hands on it.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
So, pretty glad this process is going along. Hopefully, Hopefully the ring comes out really nice.
I mean, but this is just the beginning, you know?
No, I know, but I want this ring for me.
You
So
just want to like floss.
I just
right?
want to have my ring. Yeah.
Hey man, we're gonna have that handful pretty soon. Watch.
No,
It's gonna be like, my hand's heavy.
I just want
can't.
one. I just want that one ring. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like some of the other stuff I want to do, like I want to make maybe, I guess, I don't know what to call them, collectible art pieces, I guess, you know, figures.
Yeah.
Statues. I guess statues is the word, but also like I want to try to put electronics in them too, so that
Very
goes
cool.
back into engineering. You know, I'm like,
Let's start with just like, I guess maybe we'll talk about it later, but I was thinking how, I'm not sure how it would work, but if you 3D printed on it, like, you know how Iron Man has like part of his suit where like it lights up? Like if we had a plastic toy, would you hollow it out and then like
that's
build
that's the stuff I kind of want to do. Like,
that'd be sick.
yeah, I've been looking into a little bit. It seems possible, but you know, I feel like I have to learn coding at this point. Where I'm like, it's not complicated. Like the information's out there, but it's like sourcing the material, getting the right parts, doing the welding on the circuits. I'm like,
That's
I'm
too
like-
much. That's too much. But I was just thinking like a jack-o'-lantern or something. Just put a candle in there, hollow it out, and put a candle.
Get a
in there.
little LED light.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want.
No, yeah. I mean,
Flip
I'll
a switch.
start there for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, my creativity, my imagination gets the best of me sometimes.
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, can it move? You know?
Make a little Furby.
Probably. I mean,
Pretty cool. We'll do a little project like that. There's
like
one.
a fighter. Imagine it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking in mind. I can't talk about the project that I'm working on, the NFT cards that I've been showing you.
Okay.
But the little figurine. If we could do something like that for those little figurines, I think that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, one of the ideas I had was like a cyborg fighter.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then you got like his parts light up or something like that.
Yeah.
So like I think I talked to you about this, like a Muay fighter in a stance. You know,
Very
But-
cool. Robot.
Yeah.
I might be able to sketch that up better now that I'm getting better at
Sure, that'll help.
practicing more. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be a fun thing to actually work on to push the
So-
drawing skills.
Let's get back to
Let's not.
Yeah,
Let's
let's-
actually keep brainstorming ideas.
No, let's
Because
dive
I want to
into
design.
let's
now.
dive into German the artist here.
There's a lot of German artists.
Yeah, there's only one German in the back.
Yeah.
Like what? So you went to college. You
I studied philosophy in college.
did you?
Yeah.
Philosopher and a fighter. Look at that.
Yeah.
When did you get into art?
Well, once I realized how much I had to pay a graphic designer to bring my first 5 designs to life, I was like, fuck that. I was like, damn. I was like, this is making that much off of me right now. I don't even got it. I got to scrape together some monies and stuff like that. I paid this guy basically $100 of design, which is actually really good. The dude was good. He helped me out a lot. He actually let me borrow a tablet for a bit because I told him hey man, I really want to learn how to do this. I kicked him down with, I paid him in full. And I was like, cool. I appreciated the art, but I thought to myself, what he's doing, I feel like I can do. So,
You know what? A lot of people think that, which is it's there's a lot of jokes of artists.
oh, no, I know for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, now that you do it, I'm pretty sure you experienced it. Where it's
Oh
just-
no, yeah. No, but I always look at art, and I still look at art like I looked at fighting. I said I'm not gonna be like him right away
Mhm.
because I didn't become a good fighter. I didn't win these amateur titles right away. But I looked at it, I was like, I could do that. I said, I could do that to that level and maybe surpass him. I didn't think, I'm going to surpass him. I said, I think I can get myself to that level eventually.
Mhm.
And that's why I was like, I'm going to start. I'm going to start doing it. And I started he helped me my first 6 designs. My first walkout shirt, I did the sketches. It's not like I said, here, take my idea and make this come to life. I did sketches, my sketch work. I spent a lot of time on the sketch work, and then I always brought out my ideas as close as reality as I can. Even though my skill as an artist wasn't great, it's enough. Now, if somebody gives me a really rough sketch right now,
Mhm.
that helps me so much more than them telling me their ideas written out. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
But I had given him as close to he basically colored in and gave my design life. Some of them he took more liberty with, like
Yeah.
the logo he took liberty with, and that was all him. My old logo for 5 Souls, and I was like, that helped me a lot. Like, oh, I like this style actually.
Yeah.
I like this style. And as I started like diving in, I saw like who he was taking that style from,
Okay.
and then I kind of started looking at them. Like Shepard Fairey was one dude that like I really like guided my style early
So
on.
Shepard Fairey was one of your early influencers.
Very, 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 very much so.
Stencil.
Stencil, yeah, like that stencil, just like
A lot, of
silhouette.
people, a lot of people, like our age.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Shepard Fairey. Who else was out there? Banksy.
Banksy.
One other one. I forgot. I can't
Banksy
think.
is just clever as fuck, dude.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's like the artwork. Banksy's artwork isn't like it's just stencils. It's like cool street art. It's like quick get ups. But it was what's artistic is how fucking clever his stuff is, bro. Like what he's saying with that minimal, like that's what I love about Banksy. Shepard Fairey had more like patterns and more. I really like his pattern work and like how it interplays really well together.
What was Under the
Giant?
Yeah,
that was
so
the-
he
that
just
was
he
the
just
logo.
thought it was a cool face,
Yeah, cool.
you know,
face.
and he put it everywhere.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's how it, big. It's interesting.
Yeah.
How. Like so, I mean, I messed around with graffiti a little bit. I didn't go tag up walls,
But it's more like the street art, not as much graffiti, but
the
like,
interesting. So this is the interesting
I think
thing
it was
about
graffiti first.
Yeah, that's where these guys got their start.
Yeah,
you know.
right,
And
yeah.
This is the interesting part I took from it was when you talk to these guys,
Mhm.
the high for them is putting their art somewhere where it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
You know, it's just like that's what they love doing.
I think I'm gonna have to get to that level once I stop fighting. Just going, I need a new high, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
And when I learned that, I was like, okay, this is not really the art for me. I love that art, but it's like I don't need to go out
You
there.
know, here's the thing too. Like, I don't know if I finished this stop, but when I was in San Jose, right outside of the Natural History Museum, there's like these walls. I put them up on my Instagram, just little clips of it. But there's these walls that were tagged with street art, and I was more captivated by the street art than I was by like the art that was curated in the museum and stuff like that. The stuff in the museum was cool. I liked reading. I liked learning, but the street art, I was like, oh damn, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's moving. It moves you. Yeah.
It does. I was like, oh, like I got so much inspiration from the street art. I was like, sick. Like that made that little city visit like worth it.
And I think it's a look into their culture too.
It's current. It's like modern.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, okay, within like the 5 years or whatever, or maybe some pieces are there for more, but probably not. Like I think the range for a piece of street art is limited, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
it gets cleaned up or somebody replaces it.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the stuff you saw was commissioned. You know.
Yeah, but even then, like it's still gonna like fade away, get messed up.
Sure.
Some artists like whatever they use is gonna, you know, and then
Yeah.
or they recommission every couple of years. I imagine different pieces.
That's true.
Yeah, you know why? Like you can like it's like a living exhibition basically, and then over time just.
There's a
Paint it
few of
and give
those
more.
around the world where it's just
I
like
think that's really cool.
yeah.
Gives them like space, the opportunity to do that, so they can be seen.
You gotta let art grow. And
You do. That's why I like street art. Street art is like our current. So okay, so like Shepard Fairey was like one of those dudes, but that was like the earlier hip hop generation type dudes. Like now, I'm just looking at different like some toy designers, a lot of vector artists. I look at now.
yeah.
I look at like a lot of vector artists now.
So do you think the stencil got you into the vector art?
Yes,
Yeah.
because yeah. And so okay, so I started kind of in Photoshop because like that was
Yeah.
a lot of what they were using, and I could definitely see like how that style came from there. But I didn't really like how what I did like about Shepard Fairey was a lot of clean lines, a lot of sharp lines. And so then I started learning about Illustrator so I can get like these sharper like vector points and then manipulate those, even though it was way more time consuming. I actually really enjoy that style a lot now. And I spent a lot of time
Well,
there.
you've definitely developed your own signature for it, you know?
Bro, that's really what I wanted to. Like, I always looked at Ferry and other dudes, like other graphic artists that I started seeing. I was like, I see their signature in their work, basically, like their style. I was like, that's cool. I copied for several years, 6 or 7 years, until I kind of started feeling confident in what I liked. I like a lot of like the shirt you're wearing, even.
Yeah.
Like,
This is a shirt Herman designed.
so early on, right there, like that filigree stuff, I stole that and then I built around it.
Yeah.
because I really liked filigree. I like how like motion and to build my layout and stuff. Now I'm able to actually draw my own like better. Like now I don't need that. Now my hand is like kind of like pinstriping is something else
Yeah.
that I took from like the pinstriping.
Have you ever actually tried pinstriping?
on a car or anything like that? Hell no. But with like a brush and stuff. A little.
So it's specific paints and specific brushes,
Yeah, like,
and those brushes are expensive.
bro, I bet.
I tried it. I was like, I got a few. Well, one. You know, they're like $20-$30 each. You know,
Yeah.
and
Is it the same thing that sign painters use?
similar. Yeah,
Similar?
yeah. I mean,
Like the
pinstriping-
dudes that do on the glass and stuff
yeah,
like that.
I mean, there's different types of brushes. Pinstriping ones are specifically the little short ones with the long brush,
Yeah.
with the long hairs. But the ones that sign paint are lettering brushes. You know,
Mm,
they're similar, but it's just a
Similar.
longer. You know,
Yeah.
it's
okay.
so it's
I don't want to off track you, but yeah, go on
Yeah,
with pinstriping.
and I got. So my mistake was you're supposed to do this outside because this paint has fumes. It's toxic.
Mm.
I did it inside. It got
That's what I like.
and
Huff.
but what I learned from it is just getting the right amount of paint on the brush is half the battle. It's like you just got to get that right amount, and then that way you can get that clean
Yeah.
line. And I'm like, oh man,
It's a skill, man. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful skill. Like it reminds me kind of a calligraphy and stuff like that.
summer.
Right? Like I was like, damn, that's so cool. But basically now I'm just like, I just got a tablet, and basically I have to learn how to, again, it's all the same thing. I just have to learn how to get those pulls and get the lines that I like, and it's just patience and practice.
So one of the things like I learned from pinstriping artists was the way they put their hand is a big part of how they get those clean lines.
Yeah.
Like they use their other fingers to
To
support
guide.
themselves. You know, and they'll use their pinky, they use their, and I'm like,
I gotta get a little drawing glove.
yeah,
I've been seeing some cool little drawing gloves. Like, oh,
I got one right here.
Let me have that, dog.
Yeah, you There's some cool ones where it's like it's mechanical or like some other kind of graphics.
Can we make our own?
And we need to figure out somebody who can make the glove, but yeah,
I think it's-
yeah, that'd be cool.
we should
Stay tuned for
stay tuned. Maybe that'd be an idea.
But that's nothing new though. I mean, like people that do like charcoal, they use gloves. You know, I don't know if you
So
ever
you
seen
don't
that.
smudge.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you ever seen this. People that like have a stick on the canvas and then they put
Mhm.
their arm on that, and then that's so they can.
I saw sign painters do that 1st. Mhm.
That way they get that clean line where they just like.
Yeah, I saw like the big need for it because I've painted a few like murals,
Mhm.
not big murals, but like at a couple gyms, like on their wall, I've done their logo, or like at Rise over here, I did their, my ex and I did that,
Yeah.
and dude, it's like I
Clean
could
line?
definitely understand why you need that stick because you're like, oh damn, like, it makes a big difference. Like it's when it's a big canvas compared to like a little piece of paper, you're like, oh yeah,
You thought you
need-
could get straight lines on a piece of paper.
dude. I was like, damn, this is hard as hell. I'm so glad. She
So
did
look at
most of it.
this. You've done martial arts, you've done guitar, you've done computer graphics, you've done murals.
Yeah, I mean, art. Like,
Is there?
I like to think of myself as more of an artist. That I mean, as much as an artist as I am like a fighter, I just view
art, but
I just view fighting as my art.
I think fighting is art, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I decided to make. Like I studied a lot of different fighters. I studied a lot of different movements. If you watch my fights, I've studied dance to move a little bit better, to like just have a little bit better body control, a little rhythm, things like that. Because I see that art transferring over really well to fighting. So I mean, I want to say I'm an artist more than I would say I'm a fighter. Like, let me just sit there and bang, right? That's not. I mean, I can if I need to, because I ain't no punk. But I prefer to. Why? Like, I gotta smooth it out, look good while I'm doing it. So that's
No, I think that just adds to your skill set, man. I mean, it's like learning anything makes you grow as a person. When you grow as a person, you become
You
a
get
better artist.
You have a different perspective on things. That's why I do like to travel, and that's why I encourage you to travel, and I encourage anybody that hasn't had the opportunity to travel to really like travel if you can. Like even whatever like excuses people make about, oh, I can't travel because it's gonna be expensive, or I can't take this time off. Please just fucking do it. Somehow find a way. Like I've been lucky to get sponsors and stuff like that for most of my trips to travel, to fly my coach out. So it's not like I've broken the bank doing it, but a lot of times it's like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get sponsorship to get my coach out there. I don't know like if I'm gonna have enough money to cover like the complete stay. I have to figure out what I gotta do these next couple of weeks to get that money. That's why I started selling my shirts, so I can get that extra money to have like food while I'm out there and stuff like that. It's very stressful, but like I do it every time because I know every time that I get to travel, I'm gonna grow so much from it. Or like, I'm financially poor, but I'm like rich in experience.
You're culturally rich.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, how many people out there have, everything they need, but have no culture,
Yeah. And it really helps, man, to like.
I mean, but as an artist.
As an artist, it helps.
I think for real, man. I mean, when you're limited in skill, resources, you get creative.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah. Like, I mean, damn. Yeah. Like that is really how I kind of look at it, but which is why it makes me want to create more art, like try different projects, like.
Oh, you know what? Early on, dude, I was like, I want to try every art.
Yeah. I
want to learn all because I want to get a feel for them, and then I'm gonna get good at the ones I want to. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a double-edged sword where I was like, me trying all these things definitely made me grow as an artist. But now I feel like I don't want to call it wasted time, but I didn't refine any skills. So I know enough to touch little different arts, like what it was, the clay sculpture, painting, airbrushing, digital 3D printing, digital 3D, and it's just like, sure, yeah, I know a little bit of everything, and now at this point in my life, I'm like, I want to get good at one.
Yeah,
I want to be a monster in this field, and but learning those other arts has definitely made me stronger.
It helps.
Okay. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to come out with the ring. We're going to come out with several other projects. I'm hoping to use this channel to promote my art, Herman's art, and other artists. I got a lot of ideas cooking, and you just need a little bit of time. So subscribe, follow, like. Come on, guys. You need support. Check me out at The Art of Juan C on Instagram.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z, we will actually have a ring. This is just a filler episode. Sorry.
You're gonna tease us like that, like Dragon Ball's like, oh, we're gonna start over from the beginning now.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Herman?
At the Union Designs.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time.